If I say something negative, Lori, my office staff, calls me on it. She says, don't get hung by the tongue. And I love that expression. Hung by the tongue or hung by the thought. You know, we can do ourselves a lot of harm with our own words, even more so with our thoughts. The words you use are not just descriptive. They're creative. They're how we create our own destiny. We create our future through word and thought. So be careful what you believe in. Gotta have some water, excuse me. People who know me say I've always been creative, and I still look for ways to stand out. And in my office in Lake Charles, Louisiana, as far as I know, the only business in the country with a lifestyle sculpture of a bear and a bull riding a seesaw right outside the front door. Parents in my town bring their kids to ride on it. Sometimes they think it's a pig, not a bear. I got to explain that to them sometimes. But I think it's awesome to have fun on it. They get excited about riding it. I've also trademarked a slogan that appears on my advertising and on my website. It's perhaps we should talk. It's perhaps we should talk. You know, it's not a hard sale. It's not a wild claim. It's just a simple suggestion that if we talk, I might be able to do you and your family some good. You know, I want to constantly come up with more and more creative ideas of how to brand myself and market myself and prospect in ways that may be different than everybody else's. And I'm always looking for ways to improve what I'm already doing. I advertise quite a bit, and I constantly look for ways to do it better. How can I change my ads? How can I get on TV for less than I'm spending now, or even for free? And instead of thinking what I can't do because I can't afford it or it's too difficult, I say, well, how can I make it happen anyway? A lot of people spend way too much energy explaining why they can't do something rather than finding out how to make it happen anyway. Like when I first started out and couldn't afford advertising or billboards, I'd make homemade wooden signs and stick them in the neutral grounds so people would see them on the way to work. And today I'm convinced that the financial firm down the street were pulling my signs and throwing them away. But every time it happened, I'd just put another one in there. We were cheap. Another thing I ask is, how do I duplicate myself? How can I get somebody else to bring people in? And so a few months ago, I encouraged my receptionist, Amber, to join networking groups in our community and to get to know business owners and other centers of influence and convince them to come talk to me. Amber has done an amazing job. She's brought in $4 million of rollover business the last quarter. And so I promoted her. I got an advertising marketing wing now. And another stroke of luck in my workplace, in my personal life, and in my professional life, in my family's life is my office manager, Lori LeBlanc. She helps in so many ways to run the office in an effective and cheerful manner. I'm fortunate to have people like Lori and Amber in my life. So Lori and Amber, would you please stand so I can thank you? We've achieved this goal together. A leader is a designer of moods, in my opinion. Being able to observe my mood, my staff's mood, and my prospects, being effective in nurturing fruitful moods is the essence of leadership and effectiveness. The staff was picking at me a couple of months ago about my propensity for near-death experiences, and they told me to be careful. You know, and I was touched by their concern. And they said, no, not that. If you die, we won't have a job. You know, even though it was funny, I thought about what they said. And so I set up a year's pay with life insurance to give them a year's pay of salary for life insurance. You know, their staff and their families counting on me. All of our moods improve because of this simple act of responsible leadership. I'd like to thank somebody that's not here today. I always have trouble even speaking this next sentence. My compliance person, Lisa Vito. And it sounds really funny because compliance was tough for me to accept. You know, my past history of bucking authority. I mean, I left the house at 17. I didn't want to be told what to do. You know, it's true. But Lisa came in with a stick and a piece of pie. And I know most people say stick and carrot. Well, that's what they told me most people say, but I like pie. And Lisa did her job in a caring and compassionate way. She was able to keep me licensed, keep me out of trouble, and keep me understanding the importance of this process. And that's one big reason why I have a relationship with New York Life, is the fact that they have a history of being careful and conservative about everything that they do. And for me, it's a wonderful relationship, and it's helped me stay creative and yet not get in trouble. And so my clients trust me. Nothing gets me more excited or makes me prouder than another human being to trust me. It's a reward that I can't get enough of. And you hear people talk about trust all the time. But have you ever thought about the ingredients of trust? What makes a person trust this person and not that person? And I spent a lot of time studying this. And it turns out it requires 3 conditions. It requires sincerity, reliability, and competency. And I've always been reliable, and I've always been sincere. And people trust me enough to tell me their concerns and their fears. And they count on me to take care of those concerns. And the training and support I've gotten along the way gives me the competency to do so. I just have to express those traits in a way my prospects can see them. What turns a prospect into a client is what they believe about me. If I have you as a client and I accept your trust in me, no one is an A, B, or C client, unless I tell them that they are. Then I'm okay with that. Everyone gets and deserves the highest levels of service, care, and attention I've promised. And this philosophy is embodied in a personal purpose statement I created years ago, way before New York Life. Here's what it says. My purpose is to inspire others and myself towards dignity and integrity through my care and compassion. And these 15 words sum up what I try to do as an advisor, as a husband, as a father, and an involved member of my community. You know, I've always wanted to reach out to kids who are facing the same anger and confusion I struggled with in my youth. And so my wife and I are involved in an organization called Family and Youth, which is part of CASA, a court-appointed special advocates program. Their mission is to give kids a second chance who've been taken out of their home. We've done a lot of fundraising for this group to help them expand their outreach to more youngsters, and my wife and I mentor a couple of children directly. These kids remind me of myself when I was their age. They don't understand how to express their emotions in an effective manner. So they give up on hope and they react to their environment, developing beliefs and habits that restrict their possibilities. And I think we all do this to one degree or another. Everything changes from the inside out. And so when I'm with the kids, I say, look out the window. I said, that's my 10-year-old truck. And they see my truck and they stare at me as though I'm crazy. You know, people see me on TV, newspaper ads, and they expect me to drive a fancy new car. And I explain, it's a question of what's most important to you. Sure, I could work more hours and buy a truck, but I think it's more important to spend these afternoons with you. You know, it's a great lesson to everyone. It keeps me grounded about what's important. You know, I bought a new truck. So, I'm going to have to come up with something else to tell the kids for a lesson or park it behind the block. Second full disclosure, I've been putting in a lot more hours lately. Last November, it became clear that I might have a shot at the council presidency. I made a commitment. You know, it's not easy. You have to deal with failing. It was hard for me. So I enrolled my staff to be passionate about it, to go for the win. And we laid down some non-negotiable rules. No spur of the moment leaving the office to go fishing, at least not for the next 8 months. You know, and then we broke down the goals into action steps, and we went for it. That's what we did. And here's my formula for success. You envision a life that for you is ideal. You hitch your intention to that vision, and you plan not to fail. And then you just go out and make it happen. And that's how I'm here today, standing before you. It's amazing. And there's one word that comes to my mind, and that word is gratitude. I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful for having the career I do and the family that I have. And I'm grateful for the guardian angels who watch over me. I don't think I told you exactly what happened to me on the day that I got lost in the snowstorm. You know, I was thinking I should dig a hole in the ground maybe, unsure if I'd be rescued or freeze to death. And then I saw a young guy up on the cliff in T-shirt, in shorts, with a dog. And I thought that he must be just getting out for the dog, take a break. And oddly, I thought how calm he seemed, though. And he looked at me, and he kind of waved his hand a little bit, like beckoning me to come just say hello. So I felt better, and I started going faster up the hill to get to where the ridge that he was on. And I got there, and he was nowhere around. And I figured I must be going a little crazy, getting scared. So I was trying to calm myself down, and I looked up, and there he was again on a higher ridge, still with the dog beside him. And I dropped off pride. I started screaming, "Help me! Look at me!" And he just looked, and he looked right at me. Then he just turned around and walked away into the trees. And so, man, I kept my eye on the tree that I saw him near, and I took off running as fast as I could. And I get up to the top, and he's not there. And I said, man, I'm really in trouble. But I'm looking on the ground for footprints because, and there's none to be seen. And I look around, and there's my truck, and I'm right where I wanted to go. And that happened to me a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure that was my guardian angel. And I still hear him whispering in my ear when I'm quiet enough or smart enough to pay attention. My friends, there's so much good we could do. And I believe that's why we are here, to serve others, and in doing so, complete a mission that's bigger than ourselves. So God bless. Thanks for having me.